And I go to Brucey, and I tell him this story about Bob visiting. And Brucey says, oh, you feel that way too? I'm so glad to hear, Mikey. But Mikey, I want you to know, and he says this on the same strength he says with his anger, I want you to know, Mikey, I love you. I really, no one talks that way in Cambridge. Cambridge we say, love you. I really love you. Give me one big, fat, wet kiss. And it gets in the way no one ever did before, just like his anger got in. And I leave and feel loved, maybe for the first time. So also could be a sad and pathetic story, but I do feel that. And I go visit, and my friend Bob and his wife, we eat out at the Algiers, and now I'm feeling superior. I am loved. And I start talking, and I'm feeling way better, even though it's just the three of us. And he has a good time, and we say goodbye, and I have been letting love in and loving more ever since Brucey said, just give me one big, fat, wet kiss. And then he says to me, either then or the next time, or sometime after that, to me, he says, Mikey, how bad can I be if you love me? And I say, Brucey, that sounds like a song. And he says, Mikey, go write it. Go write the song, How Bad Can I Be If You Love Me? And so this inspires me to write my first song ever, which to thank Brucey, and in some ways it's related to in some ways your story too. I'm going to sing.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to you, and to Brucey. How bad can I be if you love me? How bad can I be if you care? How bad can I be if you love me? And I feel like I'm walking on air. I lost all my friends and my family. I lost all my money and home. But how bad can I be if you love me? Even if I'm all alone. How bad can you be if I love you? How bad can you be if I care? How bad can you be if I love you? And it feels like we're walking on air.
Wow. Beautiful.
So we have 5 minutes left, yes?
I'm not sure.
If this is right? Oh.
That's correct.
So we have some choices. What is your choice?
First of all, I just wanted to it's your song is beautiful. I'm glad that Brucey inspired you to write songs. It's a real gift to us all. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. The combination of the anger and the passion ended up being a gift to you, to get through to you, to touch you. And I know lately you've been working on a story, a biblical story actually, that is kind of interesting. I don't know where you're at with that.
Well, I can try. We might not finish it. About anger and love. Well, you were kind enough to listen to it this morning. I'll try again.
Okay. Does it feel alive?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Scary, so it might be alive.
Yeah.
So I was imagining what it was like to be Jesus on the cross. And he was only there for 3 hours. And then he had friends take him down. And in the 3 hours, I imagine him, or I can really identify, I can say in my pain, the pain of even, there's a crown of thorns on my head, yes? There's my, not quite, but, and I do this, Michael, when I feel this way, what have I done to contribute to this? And I imagine Jesus thinking, I have a crown of thorns on my head. Oh, I went into Jerusalem and people said, Hosanna, hallelujah, the king is come. And that's a very dangerous political thing to do when you're occupied by the Romans. They don't like that. And the Jews must have been scared too if you do this to the Romans and an uprising comes. That's, you know... you
have to, I think you lost me a little bit.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Take me back.
So if the Romans, say that again?
The Romans were occupying Israel. And if someone walks in and says, and people start celebrating him as the new king, because the king is really the king that the Romans decide to be the king of the Jews. And so if he says, I am the new king, this is a revolution and dangerous.
Okay.
So with the crown of thorns, I think that, oh my, in some ways I brought this upon myself by saying, or letting people say, or me saying too, I'm the king. But that was the non-violent part. And then when he comes into Jerusalem, he goes into the temple. It's like going into church, overthrowing all the bingo that people play in church, but overthrowing, there was money changers then, who if you wanted to sacrifice a lamb or a pigeon to, for a barbecue to celebrate God and religion, you'd have to buy it, and there were people that if you came with dollars, they would change it into shekels. And he got very angry and overthrew all the tables and made a whip and hit. So that was real. That was violent. It was not enough, and that would really be dangerous. And so I just imagine him when he's being whipped on the way to the cross, to being crucified. He's whipped and clubbed. That he must have thought, oh my, this is my karma if he uses words like that.
That would be like karma.
For whipping, you know, he might have wanted a violent revolution, you know, but it wasn't carefully planned. And when he's on the cross, he, like my friend Brucey, he's got his angry side, you know, because I mean, he really wanted to get rid of the Romans, which, I mean, that's a wonderful thing. Just, you know, and experimenting, and well, maybe people will have, maybe that'll start an uprising, or maybe the nonviolent parade will start an uprising. So he has this part of him that's very angry, and this part of him that's very loving. You know, turn the other cheek. You know, really nonviolent, something you love. If someone, oh, did I offend you? I'm sorry. So love your enemies even. So he has these two parts of him, love your enemies and anger at the oppression, anger at people not being just and kind. And he's on the cross, and he's in some ways brought it on himself. And he says, the last things he says brings the anger and love together, as Brucey did with me. And he says, which is in some ways the nastiest thing to say, forgive them because they know not what they're doing. You know, you don't know what you're doing. But it's also the kindest thing to say. I forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. And when he says this, he brings the anger and love together. It doesn't have to be violent anymore. And when he does this, in 3 hours, he's taken off the cross. And the man who put him on, Pontius Pilate, says, is he dead? Because people don't die in 3 hours. So at least I like to understand that his friends, if you ever need a friend who will love you through the end, his friends take him off and put him into a cave and wrap him in nice clothes. And we would say nowadays he revives, even if he flatlined. He revives. The only reason I like revive over resurrection is it means that we can all revive with the help of our friends who love us. And so he revives and gets and is able to now be nonviolent and doesn't tell people to fight anymore or whip people anymore. And eventually, as a nonviolent person, Christianity takes over the Roman Empire and conquers the Romans.
Wow, that's, yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah. Whether being into the Bible or not.
Oh,
still. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Thanks. And you're actually writing poems too. So you're trying to write this into a poem, and it's your last poem of 365 poems. So I hope it integrates and brings good blessings.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
And you had something from David Abram.
Yeah.
That you wanted to share.
Yeah. Well, what I like about David Abram, we've been reading him, and he just came out with this book. I think it's still in just hardcover. So it's really new. And he's an ecological philosopher. And it just was wonderful reading the book. We read it aloud, a lot of it during meal times. And he just had a really interesting perspective that makes me feel more at ease and just a unique perspective of how important it is to tell our stories and